So I've had a really good clear out and kind of purged everything that I was hoarding over the last week, and we've got some floor space back in the workshop now, which is great for the summer projects and hopefully some of the timber framing I can do in here. But before I get onto the timber framing, I need to build some sawhorses. So there's lots of designs out there, especially for timber framing. You can get kind of saw ponies, which are like the short ones, and some people go to the extent of kind of using 6x6 timbers, doing mortise and tenon sawhorses, but I think I'm going to stick with a really simple method, which is just using 2x4s. I've got a few lengths of standard construction 2x4s, and I've also got some of this, which is like a joinery grade softwood, again 2x4, but it's quite a lot heavier. It seems to be a kind of a closer grain, so it's probably stronger and probably more suited for the heavy oak timbers I'm going to be using on top of it. And I've also got lots of offcuts from work outside of 2x6s, so I'm going to play around a little bit with the idea of having a 2x6 on top, so I've got a bit more surface area than just having a 4x2. Right, that's enough talking, let's crack on with it, and I'll show you roughly the idea, just in case you haven't come across this design before. Different designs have different widths. I think I'm going to aim for around 800mm, which is like 32 inches wide. I don't really need them to be particularly wide, as long as I can get some kind of sheet goods on there if I wanted to cut down, you know, some plywood or something. I'm going to make 4 in total, using up some of the structural timber, and then I'll move on to using some of the other timber that I've got here if I want to make a few more. I probably need 6, possibly even 7 for the oak framing job, so that's why I'm going to make a bit of a prototype first, and then we'll make a whole set, a whole herd. The basic idea for the I-beam at the top will be something along those lines, and our legs will come in here. The option I talked about was replacing this top section with a wider 2x6, but I'm not sure how much we'll benefit from that. So I think by using that 2x6 on the top, I'm basically trying to reinvent the wheel. Everyone else seems to use 2x4s, even oak timber frame places I've seen, so I'm going to do away with that idea and come back to using 2x4s. Which keeps things nice and simple, and it also means that when you put a 2x4 leg into it, it bears on the middle of the leg, whereas when I was using this 2x6, it was on the corner. So that's 6 pieces cut, which gives us our pair of I-beams. So we'll get those made up first, and then we'll move on to the legs. So talk about reinventing the wheel. It's probably one of the most common woodworking videos on the net. So apologies if we are covering old ground here, but hopefully it'll help some of you out. And one of the most common things you're going to do with a sawhorse is be using a circular saw, so we want to make sure countersink all of our screws down by kind of nearly 10mm, I guess, to keep them really low so that none of our blades catch. I haven't seen this design before. It's really simple. You've got this top I-beam and screwed in on that angle, and it does look a little bit rough and ready, but it's pretty tried and tested from the sounds of it, so we'll go this method and see if there's anything to be improved on. The main use for my sawhorses, as I said, will be for timber framing to start with. I can always swap around the design in the future, so I don't want them worktop sort of height. I want to work on timbers that are probably below my waist height, That means I can kind of straddle them if I need to sit on them to work on a tenon or something like that. So I need to kind of work out roughly what height. So I guess no easy way of doing it. I'm mainly working on 6x6 and 8x8 type timbers, so I want to allow for the height of the timber. So 600mm, 2 foot, that might seem quite short for some people, but like I said, for the use that I need them for, I think that's about right. And nicely, that means I can get 4 legs out of 1 length of timber. So I'll lose timber with the curve of the blade every cut. So I'm actually going to shorten it. I'm going to make them 590, so 10mm shorter, so we have a little bit of waste at the end of each length. Now, where they sit into here, well, I'm going to leave them as they are. I'm not going to cut an angle here because I think that all that's bearing down the middle of the 2x4. The bottom end, I'm going to cut an angle so that the whole leg is sitting flat on the floor, even though our floor isn't particularly flat. So 15 degrees rings a bell when I was reading up. And then I'm just marking where my screws are going to go, because I'm going to pilot drill those. Come in that far on each side. Alright, you're going to help me. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 of those. We have one of these legs. You're okay?
Yeah.
It's going to go here. So slide this along a little bit. And I want you to put a screw into this hole. Push it in. Okay, another one in that hole. Okay, that's fine. Last one. Okay. Finished. Okay, should we ride these horses?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
We're gonna have a race.
Yeah.
Ready? Hop. On you go.